Good evening. It is my great pleasure to warmly welcome all of you to today's special session on gender equality in India. Some practical ideas, organized by the Tillotoma Foundation. Tillotoma Foundation works globally in the areas of international relations, diplomacy, area studies, gender, environmental, scientific, strategic, and defense policy. The distinguished speaker for this special session is Ms. Kanta Singh, Deputy Representative UN Women India. She has decades of rich experience working on the areas of gender equality and development. She has also worked at the UNDP. She has actively promoted and supported development programs and policies that are beneficial to women. Thank you, Ms. Kanta Singh, for being here among us. We are here to discuss a crucial subject. The Tillotoma Foundation puts special emphasis on gender equality in all endeavors. It has been a very important focus area of the foundation. Equality or non-discrimination is that state where every individual gets equal opportunities and rights. Every individual of the society yearns for and deserves equal status, opportunity, and rights. However, it is a general observation that there exists lots of discrimination between humans. Discrimination exists because of cultural differences, geographical differences, and gender. Inequality based on gender is a major concern that is prevalent in the entire world. Even in the 21st century, across the globe, men and women do not enjoy equal privileges. Gender equality means providing equal opportunities to both men and women in political, economic, education, scientific, cultural, and health aspects. There are many examples of women over the years who are working their best or have worked their best to smash the stereotypes with their extraordinary performances. To name a few, Marie Curie, Rosalind Franklin, Mother Teresa, Maya Angelou, Lata Mangeshkar, Kalpana Chawla, Malala Yousafzai, Kamala Harris, and many more sovereigns. The social structure that prevails since long in such a way that girls do not get equal opportunities as men. Women traditionally have mostly been assigned the role of caregivers in the family. Because of this, women are mostly involved in household activities. There is a lesser participation of women in higher education, decision-making roles, and leadership roles. This gender disparity is a hindrance in the growth rate of a country. When women participation in the workforce increases, the economic growth rate of the country also increases. Gender equality increases, the overall well-being of the nation, along with economic prosperity increases. For overall well-being and growth of a nation, scoring high on gender equality is the most crucial aspect. Countries with less disparity in gender equality have progressed a lot. The government of India has also started taking steps to ensure gender equality. Several policies are being implemented to encourage and support girls. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Yojana campaign has been created to spread awareness of the importance of girl child and the need to provide good education to the girls. As we all know, in 2022, the first batch of girls could appear for the NDA examination to join the Indian Armed Forces. This is a positive development. We need greater participation of women in the armed forces, and equal opportunity must be provided to women. Several laws to protect girls from discrimination are also there. However, we need more awareness about women's rights. In addition, there's a need to ensure the correct and proper implementation of the policies. Now, I would request Ms. Kanta Singh to start with her special address. Over to you, Ms. Singh.
Thank you, Kamakshi, and it's really a pleasure to be with you all today. I don't know if it's a special address, but every opportunity is also a time probably to reflect on what we have gained and what we have not, and what is there to achieve And I can speak about both, in fact, and I'd like to start with many positive things that India has been able to achieve. So of course there are many things that we need to do better, or we need to do more of, but things have been quite bright on several fronts. As you rightly said, the last area or territory of armed forces now has also been achieved. I would say not achieved in the sense has been broken into, and girls are getting into NDA now, which is great. And a girl who stopped is also coming from a rural area of Haryana, which is amazing. So let's celebrate what girls have been able to achieve. And this is also the time to also celebrate the efforts that women have made, particularly young girls. Every day I'm really surprised and also feel proud that girls are doing better year after year. Given an opportunity, they never let you down. So that's one. There have been amazing results in education. There are more girls in higher education now than boys. So that's great. And again, given the opportunity, girls do well. It was because of lack of opportunities that girls were not doing well. So we have closed the gap on education in terms of numbers. Of course, there are still gaps, but we come closer. There are women now who are trying to realize their economic rights. Many women are starting their own businesses. Women are joining workforce. Women are aware about the opportunities that exist in front of them. The women who are every day, you'll find one great news about women, and coming from very difficult backgrounds. So I feel very happy and good about the fact that the work that we started 30 years back, or women before us who made it possible for people like me to start working on women's issues, some of their dreams are coming true. So girls have not disappointed us. That's one good thing. I also know, and I keep saying it everywhere, that this century belongs to women. If in next 20, 80 years, whatever dreams or aspirations young women have, they should be able to achieve, because there's no area where women are not working. So it's not because of lack of role models that will not achieve. It's sometimes it is because of the circumstances, sometimes because of lack of awareness, but never because of lack of effort. If girls know they can do it, they will do it. And that gives me hope. I also see, Kamakshi, more young women speaking about women's issues now. When I was your age, I didn't know what to speak seriously. And not that I know very well now, but I didn't know how to articulate the discrimination that was happening in the society that time. I see young women, I see my own daughter speaking much better on women's issues than I do. And that gives me hope. What also gives me hope is that boys have started understanding to some extent that it's not going to be business as usual. They'll have to pull up their socks if they have to compete with women, not only, literally in terms of education and jobs, also at home. Young men, they do realize that if they get married to a working woman, they'll have to start working with them at home. And in that sense, I see hope. I also see hope that there are certain areas where women are making their marks in sports. And at least since 2010, you will find more girls are getting medals than boys. And that gives me hope. So in terms of positive news, there's a lot that we can celebrate about. You are right when you're saying that Government of India has also made a lot of effort in bringing women-friendly policies. And this is the result of lobbying advocacy by women's groups. And I will give credit to them, because without even realizing, young women, most of them don't realize that there's a lot of effort that goes into changing a policy or bringing a new legislation. It's not easy. But having said that, young people should also realize that we got equality through our constitution. Our constitution is one of the most progressive documents that you'll see in the world. things that women are fighting for now in different countries, we got it through our constitution in 1950. So it's a very, very good document, very, and not only that we got equal rights, it also gave opportunities and also provisions that if for some reason, despite the equal rights, women or some marginalized groups are not able to realize their rights, it gave authority to the government to bring in affirmative action and bring in equity there. So I think these are some of the things that we should be proud of. And also we should be proud of the fact that young women are raising their voices. I really, really feel good about that. Things that we kept quiet about. We accepted them as part of a compromise, adjustments, and also keeping the societal norms in mind. Young girls are not bothered about it, which is great. I couldn't do it, but I feel very good if young girls defy those norms and they want to chart their own career, their own path, own future. That is what it is. Having said all these things, we also need to realize that our journey is not over yet. There's a lot that we need to do going forward. Political representation being one. We are 14% in the parliament now, almost 9% average in the state assemblies. Unless we are sitting where decisions are made, it's not going to make much of a difference. The progress is going to be very slow. I'm not saying it will not happen, but it will be very slow. So we have to be where the decisions are made. We have to be on the table, right there. So that is one area that I feel that we need to work towards. Economic rights. The labor force participation of women in the country is at the lowest level in history. Of course, COVID didn't help, but and in COVID, women were the first ones to go and they'll be the last ones to join back. So that's a cause of worry, because unless you utilize the 100% talent pool in a country, economic growth is not possible. It's going to be like what it is for us. So you have to, even the HR managers, the companies are hiring from the 50% talent pool, right? And even though girls are doing very well in terms of their education, that is not being reflected in the jobs. That's a cause of worry for us. As a country, I think we should be worrying about this. Thirdly, safety, security, violence against women. All of us, and I'm sure even young women like you have also experienced violence in different forms, in public spaces, at home, discrimination, in classrooms, being bullied. This is just because we are born girls. The other, say, men don't have a right to do what they do. In poorest, areas, in the neglected areas, where at household level, and this is class agnostic, in all classes, all kinds of families, violence happens. Middle class women don't talk about it. Lower class women just leave them and go. Upper class women have a lot to lose if they use their voice. So situation may be anything, but women are facing violence, and we have to admit. Public spaces are not safe for women. They've never been, but even now, when government has done a lot more than what it was doing earlier, including one-stop crisis centers, violence does hamper women's realization of rights, all social, cultural, economic, political. Even political leaders are not spared from this violence. If you'll go on Twitter and see Madam Smriti Irani's Twitter handle, whatever she writes, good or very good, there are trolls who are also after her, just because she's a woman. Otherwise, male politicians don't face that kind of trolling. And this is also violence. It stops many more young people from joining politics, because they'll think that why should we be out there in the public space being butchered like this, and our families being dragged into this. And families are not very encouraging in that sense. They say, why, you do whatever you do, but why do you want to bring our name here? But people don't realize that this is affecting women's participation in all kinds of public life. So that's another major reason. And lastly, I think the social and cultural norms in this country are still very patriarchal. You will find men only panels even now. You'll find all big meetings happening with all men, a woman, maybe 1%, one woman in a group of 10. And unless you have a critical mass of women, say 33%, 40%, women will not be able to speak in those rooms. What we think is that don't discuss us without us being there. So nothing about me without me. So when you're discussing women's issues, bring us in. That's what we need to do. And that should be applicable everywhere. If you are in a college, if you are in an educational institution, you are in a panchayat, you are in a health substation, wherever you are, women's issues have to be dealt by women and they have to be part of the decision making. The other day, somebody was telling me that there are not enough gynecologists, women gynecologists in the country. And, we need to realize that women's reproductive health is being affected because of these reasons. Women feel awkward going to male doctors. So most of the time they keep delaying the treatment. And those things have to be thought about. Those things will have to be factored in before we make policies. And Government of India, I would say, is quite proactive in the sense that they have factored in women's health in terms of gas, in terms of toilets, basic things are being looked at now. So those, without them, women in any case find it very difficult. And the last thing which is stopping women from realizing their full potential is the unpaid care work that women do. It's not an equal playing field where men also help women at home. Childbearing is one thing, but caring for the child till the time they are on their own, elderly care, community work, all kinds of household work is disproportionately given to women, or women take it on themselves, and that doesn't help them in going out and using their productive hours in making money. And everything, if there are young people in this room, I would say that decisions are made by people who control money. So whatever you do, wherever you go, make your own money. Anybody who brings money on the table also makes the decision. Sooner you realize it, better it will be for all of us. Because whatever else you do, whatever money you bring from your parents' house to the in-laws' house is not helpful. Unless you continue to make your own money, unless you continue to grow as a person, unless you continue to interact with other people and grow further, it's not going to help. Because earning money is just one part. Also going out, meeting people, continuing to grow as a person would help us a lot. And that's why we need to strive to so one is fulfilling dreams, but I'm saying fulfilling your aspirations. If you ever want to reach somewhere, there's nothing that stops you today. Information is in your hands. Fight for right reasons. Even if you have to fight with your parents for something, fight for right things. And marriage is the last thing that I want to talk about. All girls think that marriage will solve our problems. Not really. In fact, the problems will start there. You'll have to learn to adjust and compromise. So marriage in that sense is not an achievement. Achievement is what you do with your life. Marriage is just one of the things. So don't prepare yourself for life after marriage. No, that should not be the goal. Before and after is a huge change. What you don't realize today is the freedom. It will not be the same after you get married. And rightly so, because when two people come together, even men have to compromise a lot. So ask your parents to give you rights in whatever they have in the property, then dowry. Don't ask for dowry. Don't ask for 2 lakh rupees lenga. Ask for that money to be in your account. That's very, very important, because money helps you being part of the decision-making process. It's important, and your own money. And so, yeah, here I am. So I'd be happy to take any other question if you have. And yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Kanta Singh, and thank you so much to share, like the way you shared your detailed analysis on this very, very important subject. It was really, really very empowering to hear you. Now we'll go ahead to discuss some questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So what do you think that what are the developments on how women's entrepreneurship is contributing to transforming society and furthering the women's agency?
Sure. Again, as I said, Kamakshi, why do we need women entrepreneurs? Precisely for the same reason that I was talking earlier, that they need to earn money. Number one, they have potential. They have skills that are not, are not so common amongst men, I would say. There are about 13 to 14% women entrepreneurs in the country right now. And you can imagine if most of the women who are not going out to work, and if they start doing something on their own, or if they become part of a bigger enterprise, or they become part of a bigger group or enterprise, what kind of money that they can generate in the country. So women need to work or start their enterprises for three reasons. One, of course, I'll always give self-priority, saying they have dreams. And they have a right to fulfill their dreams. And any educated woman you talk to today wants to earn money, saying, I want to be independent. And independent, when they say, it means that they want to work and to earn their own money so that they can make decisions. So for individual fulfillment, work is important. For national development and growth, women's work is very, very important. And thirdly, the differential value that women's work brings, because you will find many women working in femtech, for example, periods, women's health, women's well-being. You know, what is beauty parlor? It's basically they want to make women look good and feel good about themselves. What is a boutique doing? They're doing exactly the same. What are the spas and all these businesses, or hospitality or aviation, where women work, or they have their enterprises, bookings, LIC. This is because women want to empower other women without realizing it. They're doing it because for them it's a business, but ultimately it helps many women. A beauty parlor woman employs 4 more girls. She trains them and then she employs them. It's a huge impact on the society. So we need to understand that every woman who is capable, who wants to, it's not a forced thing. If she wants to realize her full potential, has to work for country's good, for the societal good. Also, any woman who works also leaves kind of an impression on young people, particularly her daughters and neighbors' daughters and the girls in the colony, that it's possible to manage both home and work. So she's setting up those examples. And that's how I say every woman has to be encouraged. She also has to cultivate a network of other women around her who can support her when need be. If a child has to be picked up from the school, we have to support each other, because that work still continues to be on us. I'm not saying that men should not do it, but we should also realize this is how the situation is. How do we create networks around ourselves so that we can help each other? But if this is part of her dreams, every woman should either go out or work or start something of her own, where she's independent, not only in terms of money, but also in thoughts, and where she has her own network of people supporting her. That won't happen if she's sitting at home.
Thank you so much. I have another question. So what do you think of gender in institutional leadership and security forces?
I think it's great. One is that I come from defense background. My father-in-law, my husband, brothers, everybody's in army. I really feel that it demilitarizes in the mental sense that everything is not about killing. There's also something about peace. And in our hearts, all army or all defense families pray for peace, because we don't want to lose our loved ones. Also, through defense, women are also being part of the peace negotiations. It's not just they are becoming part of the war, or they're preparing themselves for war. Of course, they are doing that if tomorrow the situation comes. But senior defense officers, women of defense officers also become part of the peace building exercise. That means in whichever room a woman is sitting, she will talk about peace first, saying, can we not negotiate that? Can we not sit across the table and talk about it? It is very, very sobering, decision to have more women in the army, because it creates a balance in the society. Also, it doesn't stop women from joining a good career, because otherwise you keep women out of such great careers that they can enjoy. And there are women who really enjoy being in the army, or being part of a ship, or being part of, or being a aircraft pilot, fighter aircraft pilot. So I'm saying these things are very much attached to our dreams, our own aspirations. That I had the same dream when I was young, that, how do I fly an aircraft? If my brother is an army officer, why can't I be an army officer? But at my age, girls were not taken in army. They were only in medical corps. So we couldn't join. But I'm saying there was no difference in my dreams and my brother's dreams. But just because I was a girl, I was not allowed to join. So this is a time when women are allowed to, or through a policy, women have been given equal chance. I think it's a great thing. For army, it's very, very nice. I have seen how women officers work. They are equally competent. They don't ask for special favors at all. And whatever task is given to them, my husband was commanding, and I saw many lady officers being posted there. If there is any difference, it is in the minds of the males, not in the female. They are working as officers. To them, it doesn't matter whether they are women officers or male officers.
So do you think like in the coming time, like now women are getting opportunities in military also. So do you think like in the coming time, this scenario would be a little more different and more, empowering?
Of course it will have to. Otherwise, what have we taught you? If my generation has fought all the battles, we are doing it for you people. As I was saying, a woman beauty parlor owner is also being a role model for others. If you see women working as a fighter pilot, if you see a woman being a ship captain, if you see a woman driving an auto rickshaw, if you see a woman, not even a single field is left where women are not there. If you don't get inspired by that, and if you just take it for granted, then we haven't done our job. There's a lot of discrimination happening even now, but these women are fighting it. Partly they're fighting it for themselves because they have to survive. But I personally feel that most of them are also fighting for their next generation, that we want to make it better for other girls. Also, I think next 10 years, 15 years, these lines are going to be blurred. More skilled people will be required. And skills that we would require will be different from what we require today. So people keep talking about automation, that machines will replace human beings. Not really. Machines will replace human beings where there's a lot of labor work involved. But you will need different kinds of jobs and with different skills. So, in overall scheme of things, jobs will not be reduced. There will be different kinds of jobs. So it's a great opportunity for women, because technology will help you debunk all the myths that women can't do this and women can do this, because technology is gender agnostic. It doesn't look at men or women. You can also run a computer like men do, right? So technology is going to help women reach there faster, I feel. Also, second thing that is going to improve is information. When you're looking at a woman in Moldova doing something, say being a rail engineer, a girl sitting in Bihar would also read the same story when she has a phone in her hand. Also, there's a lot of information through different channels being aired to young people. It depends on them what they consume, but at least the information is available if they want to go ahead in life. I think the information is so broad and so much out there that it is not because of lack of information that people will not be able to realize their dreams. So I'm saying it's going to be much better. Technology, information. Also, parents are losing their grip on young people. And that is across classes, I can see that. But also, every time you go and talk in a meeting, they'll say it's because of the mindset. And I would like to share an example here that mindset is nothing. It breaks in a minute like this. In 2010, when the Fogart sisters won, not sisters, Geeta won a medal in wrestling, between then, 2010 to 22 today, 200 akharas in Haryana for girls, because parents want to see their girls doing better. Parents who were very much against girls wearing jeans are seeing their daughters wearing wrestling costume in rural areas, and the fathers are taking their girls, right? So mindset changes because of fame, because of jobs, because of money, because of the publicity that it happens, it brings you out, your name and faces on in papers. Everybody likes it. Half Haryana is now in sports, including golf. Haryana has nothing to do with golf otherwise, but there are golf players coming out of Haryana. So you can imagine how mindset changes. So if you do extremely well today, your parents are going to be very proud for you. They will break all barriers. They will facilitate everything for you. So I keep telling young girls that this is the best opportunity and best time to be born. Seriously, because seeing you, other parents will also see, oh, see, look, Kamakshi did it, you can also do it, right? So, and I'm saying it with great responsibility. I'm not saying things are equal for every girl. Opportunity exists for every girl. There are barriers, there are problems, there is poverty, there is lack of information. There are 35% girls still out of school. I'm saying all these things, but I'm hoping that, and your question was whether things will improve. Absolutely will improve. There's no way we can go back after seeing so much freedom. आप कहीं पे भी आप अगर अच्छा गवर्नेंस देख लेते हैं, या if you have seen freedom, if you know how to enjoy a drink in the evening, there's no way anybody can stop you from doing that in future, because these are good things of life. Freedom is a great thing in life. Anybody who's seen freedom will not go back to the same prison, right? So that gives me hope again.
And also, like, if a parent sees the other person doing the same thing, like at first they will stop their child to do so, but when they see someone doing that same thing, they will be they'll feel very empowered that, okay, great, that person is on TV now, and there are ways you can see your career in this line. So that
Sure.
also opens doors for new talent and
New talent,
yeah,
new people.
yeah,
Absolutely.
new people. Yeah.
Yes.
And especially when girls do it, so it makes the parents more proud that, okay, because girls have to actually go through a lot, like convincing parents and
Yeah.
also convincing themselves also, like, am I able to do it or not? Am I
I agree
worthy
with
or
you.
not? Yeah.
Because we have been told from the early childhood that
Yeah.
this is not for you, this is for you, this house will go to your brother. So
Yes.
we have been told from the very beginning, even in upper class families, girls are told that this land belongs to your brother, this will go to your brother. And as an 8-10-year-old, you don't realize where will you go. It doesn't come to your head that where are you going to go? What belongs to me? In fact, nothing belongs to us. And without realizing, parents keep saying these things, not that they're against the girls. They don't realize. I was talking to a father, a police person, and saying, no, ma'am, there's no difference for us. I have 2 children and both are equal. And in fact, I love my daughter more. I said, how come? I don't let her go out at work. I said, that's not love. That's, restriction on her freedom. So don't love her that much. Love her a little less, right? So I'm saying, but it's because of their own social conditioning, ignorance sometimes, and sometimes the social atmosphere outside, the environment outside, because of which they don't let girls go out, but they don't realize the impact it has on a girl's mind. There was a story I was reading about Kenya, and young girls from 10 to 12 were asked as to if they have one wish about themselves, what will they like to do if they are free for a day, completely free. And they said, we don't know about day, but we would like to go out at night and enjoy the streets. Just imagine how, and all of us have grown up thinking we can't go out after 8 o'clock, or you will constantly remember parents saying time pe ghar aa jana, time pe ghar aa jana. Unke liye time hai andhera hone se pehle, right? So we have inherited this thought in our head that probably something will happen after 8 or something will happen at night. So we are scared constantly. So to feel free and to feel capable of doing something, I think it's going to be much better. Men are also, and you will find many of your friends your age are also sensitive to the fact that they don't have to be so stupid about these things that they can touch a girl inappropriately and get away with it. Women will raise their voice. So they're getting used to it, and I'm sure more men will start behaving better in coming years. At least the educated people who are at least studying in co-ed schools or co-ed colleges, they know it's not the same thing that used to be, that you can whistle when a girl is passing by and just be ignored. No, it's not going to happen like that. They know girls are asserting themselves. They are going to speak against it. And probably if need be, they are going to create a big hangama about it. So things will change.
Yes,
You are heading for good times.
Yes, yes. But also when we see girls raising voice, there are actually two types of girls raising voice. Like one girl is genuinely who is facing some sort of a bullying or some sort of an abuse. But now there's a new addition to this thing that there's like, a girl card which gets played a lot these days. So
Yeah.
once like a person who hasn't done anything wrong, that person also, gets blamed that, okay, that person actually whistled, like usne सीटी बजाई या उसने मुझे देख के ऐसे comment किया, like that, So how can one differentiate? Because now this girl card is being played everywhere, and people can't differentiate what is right and what is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for this question, because there are three things that come out when you talk to people. One is dowry 498A, that girls are misusing it. Second thing is sexual harassment, saying girls are misusing the act and they are blaming people. Third thing is what you just mentioned, that you don't know how to differentiate between a genuine case and a fake case. एक और भी बहुत बात करते हैं लोग कि औरतें औरतों की दुश्मन होती हैं. I'll put all these things very simply. 7,000 girls were burnt alive when 498A was brought in. Of course, you won't know because you are born much later. In 80s, when I was growing up, every day you'll hear an incident कि stove फटने से लड़की मर गई, जल गई. Actually, all those girls were burnt alive for dowry. कोई भी पार्लियामेंट में जब एक्ट आता है, आपको ध्यान रखना होगा कि वो ऐसे नहीं आता है. Parliamentarians are not sitting free to just enact an act on whims and fancies of one person. There was a huge demand that girls are being killed for dowry, and not only the boys, but his parents are also responsible. Now, out of this 70 lakh girls which are affected now, if 5 of them are, I'm just saying misusing, I'm not even saying misusing, unless a girl is really harassed, I'm not saying degree of harassment, she won't like to go to the court. She won't like to go through the trauma that she goes through. Many a times when you talk to lawyers and talk to judges and talk to people who are around, generally the parents who are father and brothers who are taking the girls through this court process. If she's gone through trauma, she would not like to see that man again, right? But they do it because under this act, lawyers are telling the parents and family that if you will put 498, you can ask for 1 crore rupees, because he gets to earn money out of that. If they lose, he doesn't get anything. So he is the one who is saying, put this case under 498A. And usko misuse bol rahe hain ye abhi usko. Actually, girls nahi chahti hain ye baat. Bilkul bhi. They don't want, they're saying, just let me get rid of this whole process. I cannot deal with this. Let me, spend that time for building my life instead of wasting that time in the courts. And seeing the same person who tortured you is not a very good feeling, you can imagine, right? So is the case of rape and sexual harassment. When you go to a court, Kamakshi, In fact, before you go to the court, a rape victim goes to the police first, right? Police officer, और मैं आपको बहुत लंबा बताने के बजाय पुलिस ऑफिसर, मेडिकल ऑफिसर, जज asks a 14-year-old girl about what happened. Where did he touch you? What were you wearing? What happened then? What did he take? Did he take off first? Did he penetrate? Did he do this? Do you think a 14-year-old girl is firstly, she wants to remember this 5 times and she has to recollect it and share it with strange men, right? It's a trauma. So anybody who says rape, don't believe somebody else. Nobody will, because the stigma is still attached to a woman. If a woman raises her voice, it is with great difficulty that she's raising her voice. Try to understand her, why is she doing it? There may be one odd case who's trying to draw attention to herself, yeah? But most of the cases, it takes a whole lot of trauma before a woman even reaches that place where she raises her voice. Forget about putting a case in the court. It's a huge process, sexual harassment, and I'll give you hundreds of examples. A woman joins a workplace and she faces sexual harassment. For months, for years, she doesn't even talk about it to anybody. Because if she talks about it, not only will she be thrown out of the work, she'll not be hired by any other employer because they think ये trouble create करती है. I'm part of several committees where पहला employer मुझे बताता है, मैं कमेटी में हूँ, knowing fully well who I am. दिल से मैं कुछ कहानी नहीं है, झूठा केस है, ये खुद ही जाती थी उसके साथ, अभी ऐसे बात कर रही है कि मेरे को रेप किया और ऐसा किया मेरे साथ, ये sexual harassment है, actually because she didn't get promoted. Because the woman is losing everything by saying that. Look at, I don't want to name people, but yeah, men don't lose jobs. Because if, and like us, like we talk about ourselves that a woman is jhutha, men don't think he was jhutha. Arey, to mere saath bhi ho sakta. You know, they support each other. We are the ones, particularly women, will stop the first, and I saw a live case in my workplace, last workplace. Every woman and man stopped talking to that girl. There was a 26-year-old girl who was being sexually harassed. Everybody stopped talking to her. Because senior management सोचेगा हम उसका साथ दे रहे हैं. So never underestimate the trauma that a woman has gone through before she has come out, right? It is not fake or genuine. We are nobody to tell her. What she has gone through is her problem, right? But if she is sharing it with you, we need to take care of it. That means that place where we are, either in a college or a school or in a workplace, we need to be careful there. That means such incidents happen. Also, there is an impunity there that nobody takes action on those cases. So we don't have to feel happy about it because it happened to somebody else. Tomorrow it will happen to us. And we have to be at least supportive of her. Of course, and as I'm saying, I can't give a certificate to every woman. There are women who are as patriarchal as men are, maybe sometimes more. There are men who are more sympathetic or empathetic to women than women are. So there are all kinds of people. And we need to identify those people who are these people who are trying to create problems for other people, other women, and who are the ones who are supporting. So in most cases, do try to understand before you label her as genuine or fake. Listen to her. Maybe she needs all the courage to have come out and spoken about it. And in many cases, 90% of the cases, in fact more, it takes a whole lot of courage and time before a woman decides to come out. She's already gone through a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. And another question, as recently there's this proposal, made to the government that they have increased the ideal stage of getting married for the, like 21 and 18. So do you think that this new proposal can be impactful? And also, do you think that underage marriages will still happen? Like now it's happening still without, like, since there are laws implemented, still the underage marriages are there. So do you think any of these proposals can change the scenario?
I'll say two things. One is I would first go on government's intention. I think they want to bring parity there, that if boys can get married at 21, girls should also be able to get married at 21. Why should we push them at 18 years? So I'm going by intention. I think they had good intention. In practice, we have not been able to implement the 18 years age act. There are about 40% girls who still get married before the age of 18. We have not been able to check. Also, there are some discrepancies in the two laws where a woman, we are saying a woman cannot get married before 18 and that marriage is null and void. But if there's another act which says if a man has sex with his wife who's below the age of 16, now just read the language. These two things are not going well together. So why should a wife be 16 years of age when the act says it has to be 18 years of age? So there were some gaps there. I think they're trying to address those gaps. It'll be difficult to implement, I would say, at this point in time, but the matter is still under discussion. It has not been passed. And so I hope somebody points these things out. Also, one thing that as UN, we are slightly concerned about is that through these kind of acts, we are trying to again control the sexuality of a woman till she's 21. So saying if she's getting married at 21, if the society still expects her to not have any physical contact anywhere else, this is in a way not a great step. We want women to, since they are, adults, 18 years and above, want to make decisions for themselves. If they want to have a male friend, if they want to have sex, if they want to go out, it is their decision. If they can vote, they can also decide this. So we feel that no act should be able to curtail women's sexual freedom or sexual autonomy, I would say. So in that case, we have also raised some concerns with the government saying, don't try to do this. Also implement the 18 years first if you can. Otherwise, don't try to control women's lives through different acts. We have shared our concerns. But the decision has not been taken. There's just a proposal right now. So we don't know if it will come through or not.
Thank you. Another question, I wanted to ask that when we talk of gender equality, we also talk about female empowerment. Yes. And how would you define both, and also how, what steps can we take, or the government can take to enhance the women and girls' participation in the society?
See, government has done everything possible to my mind. They have brought in a lot of legislations, policies, and programs and schemes for women. So we are doing a lot of work with government in terms of gender responsive budgeting, where we also allocate certain parts of the budget for women's specific schemes. That is the affirmative action that I was talking about. If you have to bring equity into any program, then you have to do something special for the category of people who have been left behind, in this case, women. So government is doing literally a lot by bringing women-friendly programs. Most of it is because of the societal norms and the social structures and also the care work that is been given to women. So in terms of empowerment, government wants to see that women are able to, for example, get funding from the national banks. But because women don't have property in their names, they are not able to give collaterals and take loans. They need signature of somebody who owns property or owns a house. So it is because of lack of resources with women that they're not able to make use of some of the schemes of the government. Also lack of awareness. Also society stops us from doing certain things, saying, hey, girls don't do this. Women don't do this. So I think most of it is a combination of factors, generally not because of what government has not done. Government is doing quite a lot for women now. But of course, the implementation always is a challenge in India. Many of these subjects and these acts are state subjects. So the implementation levels vary. You go to Odisha, you'll find the chief minister is very proactively saying anything for women and I'll be happy to do it. I'll go to Tamil Nadu, go to some other, in the Madhya Pradesh, you go meet the chief minister and he'll say anything that you want me to do for women, I'll be happy to do it. And this is because some of the leaders have understood the soft power of women, the political constituency of women, because all these CMs that I just talked about are openly saying that we are sitting here in these positions because of women's vote. And last 4 elections have told us that there are more women voters now than men. They come out and they vote because some of these leaders are addressing their problems directly. So there is an increased political awareness about what politicians and a sensitive and empathetic politician can do for them. So I think all of us will have to start working with women to help them realize their power. Empowerment is nothing but the internal power that women have to realize. And if she is able to claim that power, make use of it, and then starts taking her own decisions, it will not come to her automatically. Anybody who's sitting in parliament will not leave his seat like it's not a bus that he'll say, oh, ma'am, why don't you sit down? It's the decision making is very precious. You see what is happening in Maharashtra or anywhere else. They don't want to, because that's where the power lies. So power is over what I do and the ability and capability to realize my own strengths, but also power to influence policies, programs, and everything else that happens around, for which you need positions. So women have to do a lot more work with themselves and with each other to also start making use of some of these proactive steps that government is taking.
Thank you. And the last question from my side, that we are talking here about how the situation can change or has evolved through time and will evolve. But do you think there are any specific barriers which women in any field face on a daily basis?
Many, many, many. I didn't want to kind of burden you with the thought that there are barriers and this will stop us. There are barriers. As I said, the violence is a major barrier. If parents have a choice, or not choice, if parents have limitations in terms of money, they will spend it on boys. Parents still find it difficult to give property to girls. And without having property in our names, we will never have something of our own. We will be permanent refugees from one house to another without having anything of our own, right? And so barriers, education, barriers, economic freedom, barriers, less choice on our reproductive health, whether to have girls, boys, to one child, two child, mostly is decided by the family, or at least husband decides, right? A woman cannot say, I'm happy with one girl and that's it. Either both of them are sensible and they say, okay, we don't let our families interfere in this. And the man takes charge and he says, he tells his mother that I'm okay, it's my child and this is fine. But that doesn't happen. He's also burdened by the same social norms that women are burdened by, right? Burdened with. He's also gone through the same cycle of patriarchal, training that women go through. So we can't blame him. It is the conditioning, social conditioning. So there are many barriers at every step. Expectations of families, expectations of marriage, having children, having at a certain age. If you are 30, I'm sure people around you are more worried about your marriage and children than your parents are. Because they keep pushing the boundaries there, saying, hey, your daughter is 30, when is she getting married? So I'm saying there are barriers, but we should also be able to learn now that women, half as privileged as we are, have been able to break those barriers. So who is stopping us from doing that? So there are enough examples today. I'm going back to the same examples, that there's not even a single field where there are not good examples to learn from. So if any girl wants to go ahead in life, a rickshaw puller's daughter or a farmer's daughter or a police person's daughter has recently become, she's number 4 or 5 in IAS, the civil services exams. There are hundreds and thousands of examples that we also learn to break those barriers. And that is empowerment, that we are not only able, but also capable of breaking those barriers. And that's empowerment. So there's nobody stopping you other than some our own inhibitions, but mostly societal things. And we come under pressure because we don't want to see our parents unhappy. They're expecting you to get married because of this and that, and because of you, they don't send you out. Bangalore will be unsafe for you. So these are some of the external factors that become barriers for women. But hey, you people are young, you are educated. I don't think we should look for these excuses now. No, we'll have ourselves to blame later. Trust me. Because if you want, you can break this. Instead of fighting for an iPhone latest model, fight for your move to Bangalore. Right? Take that chance. Be uncomfortable. Give that discomfort to your own body and your own being. That I can survive on my own instead of Didi bringing you tea in the morning. Right? So this is most of it is us. We need to take those calls ourselves. Yeah.
Thank you. Now we will conclude this special session on gender equality in India, organized by the Tillotoma Foundation.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity to come and talk to you here.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kanta Singh, Deputy Representative UN Women India, for your speech and the lovely discussion that we had. We discussed a number of key areas within the ambit of gender equality, including women in entrepreneurship, domestic issues faced by women, violence against women, the participation of women in the armed forces, women in sports, policies of the government regarding women empowerment, the changing societal mindsets, policies regarding women's legal age for marriage, etc. I thank you all once again for joining.
Thank you, Kamakshi. Really nice. Thank you.